Smarter Markets is here at CERAWeek, and I'm joined by Michael Greenstone, Director of EPIC, the Energy Policy Institute at the University of Chicago. Great to see you again, Michael.
Wonderful to see you, as always.
So what's been going on? It's a big week here at CERAWeek. I'm just curious, what kind of conversations have you been a part of?
So one thing I've been struck by is if you compare it to a couple of years ago, climate was on the tip of everyone's tongue. And I don't think actually most people recognize that word anymore. I think it's in some distant part of their brain, like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. So I like to think of it, what the world is trying to do is balance between the need for economic growth, which depends on low energy prices, and the risks from climate change, and find the right balance. And we've now shifted all the way over to just low energy prices.
So what do you think shifts us back?
The nasty thing about carbon dioxide is it goes up in the atmosphere and it stays up there a really, really long time, like a couple centuries. So climate change isn't going away, and it will rear its ugly head in various ways, and I think that will drive it back.
Reality will interject.
Yeah. And, if political systems matter as well, and if we want to spend a few years just ignoring that word, that can probably be effective for a few years, but it can't be effective forever.
Well, I did notice up here at the Nexus, there's a number of colleges and universities represented, including your own. I was curious, what's the next generation? I think they even talk about that. They are getting the next generation into energy and into climate. How is that progressing?
So, we've started the Chicago Curriculum on Climate and Growth. That we started that because when we kind of did an analysis of what other universities are doing, there's one that have like a pure sustainability thing. It's a slight exaggeration that are kind of almost like climate is a moral issue and we should, unstated, devote all resources to it. And then you have other universities very focused on energy supply and the cost of energy, and they tend to be engineering focused and not a lot of focus on climate. And I just found that super surprising. Here's such an obvious case where there's trade-offs between the two goals. Both goals are legitimate. And so we devised the Chicago Curriculum on Climate and Growth to provide students with a kind of 360-degree perspective on the problem, and with the trade-offs really at the center of it. So anyway, there's now a major that starts in Chicago this fall. There's the first master's program is launching joint with the policy school this summer. And as part of that, we brought some students here to CERAWeek, and they have been getting a ton out of it, they report.
That's fantastic. It's great to see that. And, in terms of the research agenda as well, University of Chicago, of course, well known for its strong research. Where do you think we need to be seeing more research to get that balance between the economy and the climate?
Yeah, so I think, every economist wakes up, looks in the mirror in the morning and thinks, you know what, not only should we have a carbon tax, we're probably just about to have one, and maybe even a global one, as long as it's early in the morning before there's a lot of coffee. I think certainly a global one is off the table. One in the U.S. is off the table for a long period of time. We do have carbon pricing in some parts of the world, but I think probably the most important thing that I think we could be doing is just shooting money at innovation and trying to turn over the cards and hope we get lucky with some technologies that are inexpensive, low carbon technologies that are inexpensive. Because I don't think we're going to have a level playing field where the fossil fuels have to compete, recognizing their full costs against the other technologies.
And, one can't help but notice here the presence of the big tech companies, got Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, really having a larger footprint in the energy industry than they have in the past, with their own tremendous need for power for their data centers. What do you think the role could be for the big tech companies in what you're looking at?
So I think some of those tech companies have the benefit of, let's call them extra normal or market power-based profits. That could give some of them the luxury of not choosing power just on the private cost, just on the costs. And I think some might be tempted. They all kind of posture that they're going to be very tempted, but some might be tempted to actually spend a little bit more for the low carbon energy sources. So that's one thing they could do. That might help those sources move down the learning curve. You've seen some of these agreements on nuclear. I think that's motivating some of that. But at the end of the day, I think like depending on the kindness of strangers is not usually a very successful strategy. And it's unfair to put it on one company or two or even five companies' shoulders. Like the rules of the road have to be set by policy, and the policy has to be set by governments.
And one of the themes this year at the conference is competition and convergence. And I wanted to ask you, because I know part of your founding of Epic was to try to bring the benefits of what's done well in academia into the practical applications that we need in the world. What do you think the role for collaboration between our universities and our energy industry could be or should be?
So I think there's an obvious one on development of new technologies. That's absolutely true. I think there are certainly getting the companies to lend some insight into the Chicago curriculum on climate and growth and what are the skills and the viewpoints that they feel like their current employees don't have. That's another one. And so I think there's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. And just thinking about, before I let you go, in terms of that pendulum that swings back and forth, if you were back here in a year, where would you like to have seen that pendulum move a little bit?
I think I'd like to see it move a little bit back to, I don't think we should be all climate all the time, and I don't think we should be all low energy prices all the time. What we should be trying to do is to, in econ speak, maximize human well-being, like allow people to lead their fullest lives possible. And that requires balancing between these two goals and not unitarily focusing on one.
Well, thanks for dropping by, Michael. Always great catching up with you.
It's always a pleasure.
All right.